It might not look too impressive from here, but this is the Merredin Solar Farm. And it goes a very long way back that way towards the Bruce Rock Road. That is a lot of panels in that place. They must be putting out quite a bit of power. You'd think they would actually make something of it and have a viewing area. Maybe they do along the main road. We're just going to go along and have a look and see. Now, this is a big solar farm here. This is the Merredin self-contained RV rest area. Nice little spot out by the Merredin Peak Reserve, and just across to the right here is Merredin Peak. There's some walk trails around here, and off to my right is the old military hospital site. Quite a nice little reserve around Merredin Peak, some nice wildflowers around the place. Finding a few donkey orchids, but as yet nothing really unusual. We're a little late in the year for orchids, but there's still some growing around the place here and there. Now we're back in Merredin and going to have a look around here today. I hope to push on west a little bit today down the Great Eastern Highway to Hines Hill, and maybe a little bit beyond that. There's a campsite near a lake down that way that I would like to get a look at, and we'll be heading back to Bruce Rock, and from there tomorrow down to Quillian, and making our way out to 2J, which we've decided, or at least we hope, is going to be our last destination for the trip. We'll spend a couple of nights out there having a look around. There's some campsites out there I want to film as well. All depends on whether we can get the accommodation we want in 2J, but that is plan A as of right now. After having a look at the reserve next to Merredin Peak, it was time to head off and see the Merredin Military Museum. Although we'd been to Merredin before and were due to see the museum on an earlier trip, a crisis at home meant cutting the trip short, and it's taken another 5 years before we managed to get out and see the museum properly. The museum doesn't give much of a hint from the outside of just how interesting it is. There are a number of displays of different eras in our military history, and a collection of interesting vehicles. Another museum to check out in the area is at Nungrin. It's not that far away, and if you're in the area and you're interested in military gear, I would highly recommend you try and make the time to get out and see both of these museums. Some interesting vehicles in this place. If you're interested in that sort of thing, which I am, really interesting place to have a look through. The ubiquitous universal carrier, often called a brand carrier, semi-armoured or almost a soft skin vehicle. You imagine sitting in there, skimming across the sand dunes. Wouldn't be much fun. Used to carry a crew in the back here. Very uncomfortable things to ride in. Now, this one I don't know. Dingo scout car. Well, the only dingo I know is a Daimler dingo. This one's an unusual beast for sure. Very lightly armoured, these things. Heavy machine gun can make a horrible mess of something like that. Somewhat later vintage, a military Land Rover. A little Ferret, again later than World War II vintage, very small. Can you imagine working in something like that under fire? That would not be fun. Although things like scout cars were designed to get up quickly and get out quickly when they were spotted. You don't survive long once you're spotted in something like that. Yeah, it's a little American light tank. M3 whatever, I don't know what mark that is. Fairly fast, small gun, scouting vehicles really. If you were in one of those and you were spotted by the panzers, you would want to run away very quickly. When we had finished looking through the museum, it was time to have a good look around town and get a few shots of the rather interesting architecture of many of the buildings scattered through the town centre. We will be making a full video about Merredin and talking specifically about the attractions and the history of the town, so keep an eye out for that either later this year or early in 2023. For now, we'll just have a quick look at some of the buildings we found most interesting, and then it will be time to head further west to the campsite at Baandee Lake. Yes, we're red. Okay, follow it down. This is a place you can camp. It's between Merredin and Doolakine, called Baandee Lake, or Baandee, or Baandee, depending on pronunciation. Nice little spot. Got people down here on the weekend with their ski boats, which is a an interesting phenomenon to see in the Wheatbelt.
Baandee Lake would be a nice campsite as long as the water in the lake lasts, but it won't be anything like this picturesque around the end of summer. There are tracks leading right and left, so we decided to follow them and see what there was in the way of possible campsites. The track to the right quickly comes to an end, but there are one or two places that look like they would be okay for caravans and motorhomes. To the left, the track continues for quite some distance, but caravans and other rigs really shouldn't go past the area we're going to mark on this video. The track gets very narrow and there is no proper turnaround area at the end. If you go down there with something large, the chances are you're going to have a hell of a time getting back out again.